Hello everybody and welcome into PGR eSports Live and making a stop tonight at Talladega Superspeedway final race before a brief break as we continue to get closer and closer to the SummerSlam 499. Thank you all so much for tuning in here tonight. You are watching Austin Green on PGR eSports. Dawson Wise should be joining us in the booth here just momentarily. In fact, looks like he has arrived. And as always, race control / side-by-side commentator Matthew Baker. Fellas, how you doing here tonight?
Man, I'm doing good, Austin. Glad to be back again. Apologies coming in right at race time, but no, nonetheless, going to be a fun one, a bit of a preview, if you will, for the future here as we get closer to that SummerSlam 499. I can't wait to see what's on tap for us tonight.
Hey, better late than never, and after action we saw last week, we are getting ready to get things going here tonight. So let's head right down trackside and get into it with tonight's starting order. So, looking at the front row, taking the pole here tonight for Nightmare Esports, it is going to go to Cody Nagels, rolling off on his outside in second. John Mullihan from McCullough Motorsports. Jeff Merck will roll off back in third with Andrew Navarro in fourth. Kyler Wynn, a Canadian driver, in fifth. Stephen Miles, another one of the Nightmare Esports drivers, will roll off 6th here tonight. Back at 7th is going to be the Coke Series driver Malik Ray. D3, Daniel Everhart in 8th. And rounding out row 5 in the top 10 is Matt Lee and Ken McCullough Jr.
Yeah, row 6, a pair of teammates for KSR and the Jack Shacks. Trevor Osbornoff, the 89, Devin Ray in the 2. They'll roll 11th and 12th. Row 7 will be Nash Rambilla and Kenny Stamper. Row number 8 will be Josh McCullough in the 05 from McCullough Motorsports and PGR Esports owner Michael Triscaro. Row number 9, Brock Westmoreland in the 4 for Team PGR. Jared Haynes in the 32 for One Stop Motorsports. And rounding at the top 20, Mark Mondell in 19th and JR Miller for PGR in 20th.
David Flanagan will start 21st with Caden Diedrich. Hopefully I'm saying his last name right. Point is, I think this is Caden's first start here in PGR Esports. Looking to see if he can put together a good run here tonight. Rolling off on his outside is Manatsi Major with Tim White in 24th. Moving on back to row number 13 in 25th. We got a lot of new drivers here tonight, but it is one of the returners, Francisco Villarreal, with Landon Velicki to his outside in 26. Moving on back to row 14th, it's John Darnell and Ethan Eckert. Brian Hennings 29th and Chris Walker rounding out your top 30.
Mike Davenport in the 55 for PGR will roll from 31st with Adam Young to his outside in 32nd. Row 17, Jonathan Herbert in the 87, and the Blind Squirrel Racing driver Jeremy Osborne in 34th. Grant Gutter will be the first time starter tonight. He'll roll 35th with Mark Morton to his outside in 36th. Row 19, a pair of veterans here in PGR. It'll be Zach Range and Dylan Jones. Row 20, Logan York, Joe Huerta, and then just finishing out the field, Jesse Calloway 41st, Tyler Vickery for PGR 42nd. Last 2 cars shotgun on the field tonight, Tucker McClendon in the 00 and Jimmy Emos in the 98.
Taking a brief look at tonight's race info. Back to the Intimidator Superspeedway Series. Tonight's action is presented by Prime Hydration. Make sure you check them out. But we are in the Xfinity Series. Distance here tonight going to be 60 laps, 50% fuel, 2 sets of tires, no fast repair, fixed setups as always, and 3 green-white checkered. Track temp 118 to start. Beautiful day outside, at least in the sim. And it is time to go racing, potentially for the final time. Again, in potentially a couple weeks here, we're going to bring the fireworks to life. Here come the engines roaring through the field. Here we go. Green flag is in the air. We're racing at Talladega.
Halfway down the Alabama Gang super stretch for the first time as they roared a full song. They climb the banking of turns 3 and 4. It's John Mullahan that controls the field, but his outside. It is Andrew Navarro in the 44 with Stephen Miles in the 24 on his back bumper. Front seems to be minding their P's and Q's about 6 rows deep, and from there, a big spread. A lot of guys taking it really easy. Kind of rare for PGR to have this kind of calm early in the race. Up front, though, it's all battles here up in the first 2 rows. Stephen Miles pushes Andrew Navarro to lead. He'll lead lap 1 just by a nose over John Mullahan.
A lot of these guys had the chance to get some practice in on Tuesday night over at Tuesday Night Thunder in these cars. But on that outside, already being aggressive is a couple of the PGR Esports teammates. Nash Brambilla thinking about going up, and that'll make it a trio. Actually make it 4, as it's got Brambilla, Brock Westmoreland, Michael Triscaro, and 1 more on that outside line. And the more cars they can get, the better. I think the 82 here tonight, again, we've got quite a few names in the field, and that is one of the guys who, not a new name tonight, but just recently started, Manatsi Major, in that 82 car, the green and white machine. And so he's on that 3rd lane trying to get something working. JR Miller just behind him, and that makes it all of Team PGR, or rather PGR Esports now, with the help of that one kind of straggler car here tonight. Everybody looking for a teammate, even if they don't have one, and sometimes you can find those in just the guys that you help throughout the race. Never hurts to have friends at the end. I think that's exactly what Major's trying to do right now in that 82 car.
Well, it is critical to always have another car, especially in this Xfinity car. The more help you have, the more energy that you put into that line, and that's exactly what they're doing, and it's going forward. Nash Brambilla has gained 10 spots just up in the outside line. He's going to be door-to-door, elbow-to-elbow with the leaders here in a moment. If that momentum keeps up, they might need one more car to help them. Now a couple more in behind them start to jump in line. You see, right as I said that line gained more energy. As those cars went up there, that line gained enough energy to wind up just a little bit more and get to the door number of Andrew Navarro. Brambilla challenged challenges for the lead. Don't forget, newly crowned reigning Little Guy Series champ J.R. Miller is in that line as well. Fifth in line as the line continues to grow. Brambilla with a big run, storming to the point at the line.
Well, I don't know if you caught this, Dawson, but notice who's fading back right now. That was Kyler Wynn in the 82. I don't know if I can tell you the last time we saw Kyler fade back, so I think if he's dropping back, that maybe he's sensing something up here. He doesn't like the energy, but I'll tell you one thing. There is a lot of it right now as they roar off at turn 2. 3 by 3. 2 more are going to bail now. It's the 7 of Malik Ray, and it looked like the 04 is Matt Lee is also going to fade to the back of this group. And so while they stay 3 by 3 up front, you can certainly tell some people are ready to try to bail out of this pack. Not the case for Nash Brambilla. Him and Brock Westmoreland got enough momentum to almost get clear into 3. Not enough, and they'll stay 3 by 3 through 4.
Well, they're trying to get Nash Brambilla clear because the temps in the middle and the bottom are boiling right now. The problem is it took them a little bit too long, and now it's kind of stalled across all 3 lanes, and this tends to be a problem. When you have pushers this good, you can't really differentiate between the 3 lines. In this case, Brock Westerland, Stephen Miles, Cody Nagels, all very talented pushers. So it's not really, you're not really able to just, differentiate your line. You're not able to push that line forward. It kind of just stalls out, and that's kind of what we've got here. A bit of a parking lot scenario, kind of like rush hour traffic here, gridlock rush hour traffic at 190 miles an hour. Although that top line now, you see it fade by about a car length. You're going to see that fade even more. Well, maybe I stand corrected. Brambilla again storms to the lead in 3.
And we almost had 4 wide, about 6 rows back there. It was Mark Vondell trying to get under somebody, I think, who was making a little bit of a late move, trying to figure out exactly who it was. It may have been Eckert. Again, we couldn't tell for sure, at least not from that view. Looks like it was, maybe it was one of the new guys we had in the field here tonight. Point was that was a really, really close call, and things certainly could have been a lot worse, as it was actually Tim White, who I think was trying to shoot down. The gap wasn't there. Mark Vondell eventually cut him a break, but man, when you're 3 by 3 like this, you have got to be so precise on the moves, whether it's switching lanes or trying to create a run. And right now, that 3rd lane continues to fade as all those temps have stalled out. It starts to become the shorter way around the racetrack is a little bit faster, and they're staying committed, though. I'll give it to them. And the longer you stay committed, eventually that group is going to get some momentum back. We'll see. I think if Brambilla, Westmoreland, and Triscaro can stay linked up here long enough, I think they'll be able to get that 29 clear.
And I'll tell you what, they're actually doing a really kind of masterful job here of keeping their line up. And let me kind of tell you what they were doing there. If you notice in turns 3 and 4, Brock Westerland dipped way to the outside of Brambilla. But Nash Brambilla, by dropping down, was able to maintain side draft, kind of keep that line even a little bit. They did buff the side draft a little bit in the last update to where it almost is a more profitable man, Andrew Navarro. That was a close call in the nose of Mullahan. But no, as I was saying, he kind of keeps the side draft going and allows Westmoreland to cool the engine. A really masterful piece of teamwork going on by those 2 up top, and that's why they're able to stay close together. But don't look now. The middle line has surged again. Stephen Miles for Nightmare Esports goes to the point.
Well, you said the key term at any super speedway track in any series, and that is cooling temperatures. You got to make sure that you have enough temps to push a guy in. When you're stuck bumper to bumper like you see them doing right now on the bottom and middle line, you heat up quick. You cannot stay glued to somebody's bumper forever. Your engine will overheat and blow up. So you got to manage those temps, and by managing them, you named it, Dawson, exactly what Westmoreland was doing, but the trade-off for that is that whenever you duck out of line and you get unlocked with the guy in front of you, you lose progress. So this is going to help him out here. The 89 of Osmanoff jumps up. Guess who has fresh temps? The 29 of Nash Brambilla, because he's been in the front of this group. So now watch for this 3rd lane. They're going to get going again here. Question is going to be, will they get any more takers? Does the 90, Daniel Eberhardt, jump up? What about Stephen Miles? There goes Eberhardt down the back.
No surprise there that once the temps got fresh and he saw an opportunity that Daniel Eberhardt was going to jump out. And this is about the worst nightmare for the middle and the bottom lanes, because now Osmanoff and Brambilla have temperatures to push their line forward. It's not what the middle and bottom wanted to see, and as such, John Mullahan cycles up. That's to try to block the 90 and the 89 for potentially getting clear and try to reset these bottom 2 lines. It seems they've done so. Mullahan and Navarro fend off the advance for now, but how long can you wait if you're Mullahan to drop back down? Man, that's not a great moment to do it, because now the middle is all kinds of disconnected. D3 may have a window to get to the lead here in 1 and 2.
Well, we are about halfway now through our fuel window. We will be in just about a lap or 2, depending on how much you're saving. Looking like it's going to be give or take 20 laps, and I don't know, I think now is as good a time as any. Matthew Baker, I know we had a chance to introduce you earlier, but I completely forgot to give you the chance to talk, so I apologize for that. But we know you're in here, keeping an eye on all these guys. How are you feeling so far here tonight?
Well, you just saw Eberhard go from that top lane clear all the way down to the bottom. Mullahan's going to jump up to that middle lane. but I'm seeing really, really good three-wide racing. It may be a little bit of a draft lock if the temps are there for the middle and the bottom, but as soon as the temp runs out, you talk about it a lot. Molahan's going to drop to the bottom here, but that top is really starting to form up well once those temps run out, and it just is going to be a game of who can manage their temps better, who can give those, hard pushes into the corner. And one off towards the back, and that second pack he's going to come back up. But they single filed out. They're going to try and get back to this first pack. But no, fuel window looking like it's around, let's see, let's hop in the car here. About 20 laps, 19 leading, I would say. So look for pit stops around lap 19, lap 20.
And man, oh man, Trevor Osmanoff bobbling around a little bit on that third lane. Oh, Nash Brambilla goes kaboom! He's going to go up the hill as he blows the motor on his Ford Mustang. His race will come to an end abruptly here. The whole field's going to go around. This will not draw a caution, but that will end the night for Nash Brambilla, one of the favorites coming into tonight. Great speed early. But that's exactly what we had been talking about, Dawson. He had fresh temps. He had been pushing for a little bit, though, and that engine gave way, and he's going to coast it around here, but it doesn't really matter what he does. The most he could do, maybe get a new engine, help teammates later on, but this is going to end his race.
And it's kind of similar to the dangers we saw in last week's race, and a little bit different. But we saw, the same thing happen to Trevin Osmanoff last week, where, I'm not sure what the temperature was on Brambilla, but for Trevin last week, it was very unexpected. He was pushing like normal, and then the engine gave out on him. So perhaps that is the case again tonight. A really tough break for Brambilla, who was having an incredible start to the race. He and his teammates were really looking good so far, but now going to come to an early end for Nash Brambilla. Look at the top side. Look at the newcomer. I believe, or not newcomer, excuse me. That's Mark Morton making his way back to the front. New colors on his machine tonight.
Yeah, we were just looking at a replay there. As you mentioned, Mark Morton, he's up 33 positions already from where he started this race at, but Triscaro is certainly giving him all he can handle right now in the pushing category. But, I think for Nash right there, we watched when he got into the corner, it almost looked like him and Trevor were communicating that he was hot, and they were trying to find a way to get that 29 machine cooled down, and it looked like, oh man, that was a big move right there from Morton to get all the way down to the bottom. Wow, what a power move from the 18. But finishing briefly on the Brambilla story, he looked like he had a clearance. Oh, now Merck's going to go around. Merck spins to the inside of the racetrack here.
Oh, and he pounds the inside wall.
Oh man, that's a tough break for Jeff Merck here. We're trying to find him. Not sure where he went, as looks like he's fallen all the way to the back of this group, and you said it, pounds the inside wall. That is going to bring his race to an early halt as we hop on the onboard cam. Not the way we wanted to introduce him here tonight to it, but well, it seems like the bad luck may be starting to return here for Jeff Merck, and I hate to say that, but yeah, he's not going to be too pleased with this here. Let's see what happens. This will be coming off of turn 4. We go to the blink cam, and I think that started with a bobble from the middle line. Yeah, it's Navarro and Triscaro. They're going to get really tight here. We're only going to take one view of this here. I'll try to play it slow for you, but watch. Yep, Michael Triscaro just washing down a little bit, and he wasn't getting pushed, but I think that's just part of these cars darting around a little bit, and Mike just, again, got a little bit too low there, got into Navarro. That sends Navarro into Jeff Merck, and then fortunately here for Jeff Merck, he's headed towards that inside wall, and he's headed there in a hurry, and boom, big hit to the front end, destroys front end of his Camaro, and so already two drivers out of this race early, and two of the favorites at that.
Yeah, it's a really tough break for Merck there, but it's the kind of thing that comes with this kind of racing. Man, back up front, another power move from Morton. He jumps across Molahan's nose, and this is getting dicey up front. Here comes Michael Triscaro, and as he tries to drop down, maybe Morton goes down too. Triscaro wasn't clear. We may be 4 wide for the lead here in 3 and 4.
Oh my gosh, they're trying to figure it out. One in the wall, the green. Oh, another one in the wall now. 2 cars in the wall. Tim White, the other one that gets collected along with the 82 of Major. So Benazzi Major and Tim White both get collected, and this one here doesn't draw a caution, but that's big damage to Tim White. I'm sure Major's probably got quite a bit on that right front as well. Oh, man, that could have been a whole lot worse than it was. Watch as they get into the corner here, and you said it, Triscaro tries to make the move, did not quite have it. And so then they kind of get in an awkward spot. I don't think Trevor wants to split Mike, but the 82's got to run. Trevor can't quite sink back in line. It causes a stack up on that third lane, and then Tim White gets into the back of the 82. He's not quite able to check up in time. The 82 gets into the wall, and then there's Tim White getting turned. And boy, that thing got up in the air when it hit the wall. Very, very lucky that those two did not come back down into the field. And as we go back live, looks like they're back to 2x2. I think everybody's ready to take a breather here.
Well, I would be, because that was a big-time scare at the front. I mean, if that had started right there with that chain reaction on the front row, that would have been probably 15, 20 cars that got involved in that incident, 3 and 4, and rightfully so. They're all going to drop to the bottom and say, all right, let's just get lined up. Let's get ready for some pit stops. Let's all take a moment, take a breath, and kind of calm down a little bit, because a race that started very calm got very dicey really, really quickly, and these guys just kind of having to, keep the pot from boiling over. That's exactly what they're doing. But further back, there's some guys still coming forward. Grant Gutter, Trevor Osbornoff, looks like Malik Ray, Kyler Wynn are on their horse trying to get forward before these pit stops.
You know who else is? Zach Range. He's already up 25 positions from where we started this race at. He's rolling on the inside, and he's carrying a couple different onboards for us here tonight. There's the first shot. He's got the Prime in the corner. I think that's the Meta Moon flavor. And he's also carrying a pedal cam for us, and then an alternate cockpit view. So there's all three at once for Zach Range. And I'll tell you what, all those views show you exactly what a driver's going through, but different guys have different setups. He's got a whole rig. You see he uses the F1 wheel, and I always wondered how that would feel on a track like Talladega in stock cars, using a wheel that's usually meant for lighter sport cars or formula cars. Nonetheless, though, Zach Range again doing a terrific job so far here tonight. We appreciate him, as always, for carrying an onboard view for us. Another man who's been really impressive, especially in the PGR Series over the course of, I would say, about the last month, has been Tyler Vickery. Now, struggling a little bit right now as he sits back in 35th, but he is still up 7 spots from where he started this race at, and wouldn't be surprised if we saw the driver out of Orlando to the front by the end of this race, as he currently sits just behind one of the Asphalt Outlaws racing drivers, Jesse Calloway. It's another guy who knows how to get it done at super speedways, but the problem for this group is that they're, of course, not with the leaders, and if this thing continues to go green, that gap will get bigger and bigger, and if we get a couple pit stops under our belt, Dawson, that's when you tend to get guys spread out enough to where we could maybe not have a caution. And so right now I think that's their best hope, is that we get a caution.
Yeah, I'm not sure they'll get that spread out with how we've seen pit stops go between Tuesdays and tonight's series, I should say. They don't typically get that spread out. There's still, 20, 25 cars in the lead draft, and chaos can ensue at any moment. But you're right. If this were to turn into that kind of race, that group, I mean, their hopes of winning this race go down drastically. We're getting very close to that target pit lap, a lap 18. Any takers here? No. Remember what Matthew Baker was saying just a moment ago. The target lap probably around lap 19 to lap 20. The window opens next time by. First cycle of green flag pit stops.
Getting ready for those. And how about the finish we had last week? You look back to the photo finish at Daytona between Logan York and Daniel Eberhard. Of course, Eberhard back in position right now. Logan York in the 0-2, a little bit further back. Unfortunately got eliminated this Tuesday, and Tuesday Night Thunder isn't going to advance to the championship 4. However, he's coming off a lot of momentum still with that win last week. All the money he was able to take home. Look to see if he can double down and go for, I believe it would be either win number 2 or 3 for him. Definitely number 2. Not sure if it would be 2 or 3, though, for Logan York in the PGR Intimidator Superspeedway Series. And we're going to be coming 19 to 20 here. Let's see if anybody decides to bring it down for the first stop.
Yep, here comes a group of men. Andrew Navarro, did you see that? He goes middle to bottom to pit road all in one move.
Oh, we got multiple missing it. Oh, my goodness. Holy cow. I don't know if we had... Wow, we had about a handful of guys that just completely blew the pits right there. And I'm looking at a couple of them. Jonathan Herbert, we had 2 that went through the grass, and I mean, they were not even relatively close to getting down to speed. One of them was Grant Gutter in a 7 Hershey's machine. You see, he's just going to drive it away, as are a couple others here that I'm assuming just realized or figured they weren't even going to make the pit stop, so just decided to keep going. We'll go back and look at those, or look at some of those in a moment, but keep it back up front here, because I think this group's going to be coming down this time.
Yeah, and a couple tough breaks here if they don't get to pit. That's Miles, Triscaro, and Miller. Let's see if they just go ahead and pit. Yeah, they will just pit from the middle lane, so convenient that the entire rest of the group comes down. Malik Ray, Kyler Winter locking up. They both may spin on the entrance of pit road.
That looked like, what do you call that, tandem drifting? They were both side by side, almost synchronized, but they both were able to get at least into the pits. We'll see if they got a penalty for speeding, but I will say, oh, just as I was going to say it, contact out back. That was pretty big contact for 2 of the guys. I think one of them potentially Landon Velicki. It was either Ethan Eckert or Landon Velicki, I thought. Nope. Eckert looks like he's okay. We'll go back and figure out exactly who this was. One of them was Caden Dieterich. And then the other one, I think, was Landon Velicky. He still sits in the pits right now. They were trying to get, one of them was trying to get down to their box, and as they did so, of course, they made contact. And now we got one spinner out back of this group right here. Is it Joe Herta? Looks like it is. In the pits, Joe Herta got it looped back around into his box. But, boy, what a chaotic sequence of pit stops. And even through all of it, looks like we're still going to come out with a pretty big group here.
A great pit stop for Navarro, Osbornoff, and John Mullahan. And my question is, where'd the rest of that group go? That first group that pit has disintegrated as a part of this cycle. What in the world happened to that initial group that came down pit road? Because it was, 6, 8, 10 cars that came down, and it looks like only 3, for the most part, got away unscathed. Man, what a tough break for the rest of that group. I mean, the second group that came in, they're mostly still together, and they're going to run these leaders down pretty quickly, I'd imagine.
Well, I know what happened, Dawson. It was a bunch of chaos. I mean, we're going to go back and look right now, but watch this. They all fan out 4, 5, maybe even 6 wide at some points, and Jonathan Herbert there looks to me like he just committed way too late, immediately locks up the brakes, the 7 of Grant Gutter. He's not even close either. These two don't even, I don't even know if they made the first commitment cone, much less the second one. 7 of Gutter tries to drift it into the pits. Herbert just decides to throttle it back up and merge back onto the racetrack. And so those two were the only two that I saw have any major issues. I think everybody behind Navarro got it relatively clean. Of course, some slides, and Navarro did clip the grass. Ooh, York and Range with a little bit of contact. And then all the way at the back, looks like we had somebody else who had some trouble back there in the, looks like the 80, wasn't the 82? Was it, can't tell exactly who it was. Point is, we had a lot of different cars with some trouble right there, and even though they all got it sorted out, it's going to cost a lot of people here their chances at winning this race if we don't get another caution.
That's what pit stops can do. That's what pit road penalties, pit road mistakes can do to your race, though, is that it can completely derail it in one go. You're going to need a caution now if you're going to get back in this race. This has been such a weird cycle out, by the way. Malik Ray was the first car to come off pit road by a long shot. It wasn't close. Stephen Miles was behind him. But then now Malik Ray has dropped in behind 5, 6 other cars that came out behind him on pit road. Not sure what happened to the 7, but that's just very odd to watch because Miles, Nagels, Matt Lee, and company have caught the leaders, and Malik Ray still sits about 8 car lengths off their back bumper. It's such a weird look to me for the 7.
Yeah, it certainly is, but what we've done is thin the herd. That's what happens. You said it, Dawson, through pit stops here, and 24 laps complete, first pit stop complete, but we are expecting one more somewhere around lap 40. And that should be the last stop, give you enough fuel to make it all the rest of the way from there. So looks like we've trimmed things out here to, I would say, looks like all the way back to probably the 15th to 20th position here. In fact, yeah, J.R. Miller, the last car in this lead pack. So 18 cars, single file, still in this lead pack, plus a couple of lappers and stragglers in between there. But I mean, everybody else on back, remember, we had 44 cars for this race with only a couple out. That's a lot of guys with trouble that have either, of course, just lost the pack or potentially went a lap down. Now, I do want to give a brief shout out here tonight to all the new guys we have. One of the returners that we have not seen in a while, and that is John Darnell. It's been a while since we've seen John. We saw him on the Money Racing team before. Had a couple podium finishes and PGR. Still looking for that first win, but I think it's just a matter of time. Good looking paint scheme as he's got the pink, black, and looks like either teal or baby blue. But good to see you back, John. If you're watching later, good to know that you're doing well, and glad to see you out here racing tonight.
Yeah, really cool to see guys come back, especially after they've been gone for a while. Really great to see that John Darnell's doing well, and then he's back in the field tonight, and certainly, glad to see that car back on track. We've missed seeing that 99 car on the racetrack. Andrew Navarro just dropped out of the lead. He was leading the race. He just dropped out and went all the way back to 14th position, about 7 to 8 cars deep on the outside. Very odd situation there again, but perhaps the safer decision, as we saw. Maybe we're seeing the same thing from Malik Ray. Maybe it was intentional. Maybe he wants to kind of stay away from the lead, considering what will happen, although Malik is now 5th on the inside. But Navarro playing it safe, going back there around Mark Morton, J.R. Miller, and others towards the tail of this lead group.
I'm wondering if it's maybe some slight fuel concerns, because Navarro was one of those cars that came in the first round of pit stops, which was 19 to 20. I think they'll be okay, obviously. I think maybe this is, like you said, just being conservative, and maybe he decided it wouldn't hurt to save a couple extra drops of fuel throughout this run if he can by being back in the draft. But, I'll tell you what, Dawson, this race was the prelude to the SummerSlam, and right now I'd say it's acted pretty much just as that. Notice that we've still got everybody 2x2, and when you've got a 500-mile race, of course, 1 mile short of that, the point is, majority of that race is going to be the long green flag runs where you've got to make multiple green flag pit stops. So you've got to get really comfortable when it comes to being good with these long runs and green flag pit stops. And how about up front right now? Looking at that first spot, Trevor Osmanoff, but got a couple people here are potentially looking to see if they can get a couple laps back, or rather a couple guys trying to get their lap back on the outside. One of them is Joe Herta, and that puts the Jack Shack leading the front row right now, even though Osmanoff is the only one for position.
Still a cool moment to see those two cars on the front row, despite the fact that, like you said, Huerta is trying to get his lap back, but props for staying up here and fighting for it, because at any moment a caution could come out. At any moment he could get that lap back or be on the tail end of the lead lap. So he's either going to be back on the lead lap the hard way by being in front of the leader, or he'll be the first car lap down, most likely, and will be able to get his lap back that way. Now the interesting part is Brock Westmoreland, Francisco Villarreal, Kyler Wynn also find themselves a lap down in the 82-4, fourth on the inside. So he's fighting a few cars for that spot. But Joe Huerta in a pretty good spot if a caution were to come out right now.
Yeah, there's some very, very big names that are a lap down right now. You noted that part, but up front, it may be 2x2, but the pushes between these first 4 cars are still as aggressive as they have been all race. Mullihan on the inside trying to hold Osmanoff at bay, but on the outside, that 13 car pushing for all he's worth, trying to see if he can find a way to get Joe Herta clear. By the way, that 13 machine is John Mullihan from McCullough Motorsports. Excuse me, not John Mullihan. John Mullihan on the inside. I meant to say the 13 is Francisco Villarreal, who is also one of the lap down cars. So he's trying to kind of help Joe help him, because if Joe gets on the lead lap, then we get a caution. That puts Joe to the free, or excuse me, that puts Joe back on the lead lap and moves Francisco to the free pass position. And so as Mullihan stays on the inside, trying to keep Osmanoff up front, about Cody Nagels in the 6, Matt Lee. Those two on the outside right now. The 87 of Herbert's going to fade. He'll lose another lap right here, as Michael Triscaro in the prime colors here again tonight. Still has a good run going. He sits in 7th. He's up 9 spots from where he started this race at.
Several guys have a good run going, and several, have a little bit better run going because some guys got caught on pit road, because some guys got a penalty. So that all but confirms our theory that Kyler Wynn received a penalty on pit road, is that now he's a lap down. Malik Ray, it's kind of curious. Kyler got a penalty apparently. Malik did not. So that's very interesting. So it looked like they both were going about the same speed, but man, tough luck for Kyler Wynn. But some guys have kind of been the beneficiaries of those pit road mistakes and now find themselves in really good positions if this race stays green, but a long way to go, just barely short of halfway next time by. A lot still to happen here tonight. Yeah, a long way to go. And you know what I'm starting to notice is, look at this, the 13 going to jump out of line. Villarreal feels like he's had enough. He's ready to fade to the back. That'll push Stephen Miles up there. Osmanoff back to the outside. He's going to try to cover, and ooh, that almost caused a bit of a stack up, but now you've got 2 teammates technically working together. Mullihan will get a chance to get some temps back at his race car. But as we look at the track temp, 110, and I was saying I noticed a couple of these cars starting to bounce around more and more as, oh boy, look at this. Kyler Wynn's going to split the middle. I don't know about this decision, Dawson. Well, he certainly didn't make a friend in Stephen Miles, I can tell you that much. From the 24, I'm certainly not happy with the 82 right now, as Miles, now he's going to get split again. Now Malik Ray goes to the middle. Wow. Stephen Miles, he's going to remember that. Note down the 7 and the 82 on his mental notebook for later on in the race, because I don't think he's going to appreciate the move that either of those guys just made, trying to fight Joe Huerta for that lead lap spot.
And if they were splitting him because they think he's a rookie out here, boy, they're going to be pretty sadly mistaken. Stephen Miles already well known for his talent on super speedways in such a short time racing them. Of course, teammates with Cody Nagels and some of the other Nightmare eSports drivers. And yeah, you said it there. That was really surprising, first of all, from Kyler Wynn, but we know Kyler and Malik like to work together, so that could explain some of that. And now it's just Joe Herta that they're worried about, so I think they're going to try to push him clear, and then they'll take the lead, of course, of the outside. But 32 of 60 laps complete, and the more these cars dart around, the more you think tires could be becoming an issue, and with still a green flag pit stop to go, I don't know. With these guys only taking 2 tires each stop, I got to think these things are going to be pretty out of control for that last run.
Yeah, I agree. This car it lends itself to that, especially late in these races. It lends itself to being way out of control, especially, you know, with track temps the way they are and with how many laps you're going to have on these tires. It's going to get very tough to make the same moves you wanted to make on lap 2 or early in this race. When you get to lap 40, 45, 50, those moves become a little bit less practical because you're a little bit more out of control of your race car. So it'll be interesting to see these guys continue to fight it. We've seen them do it on Tuesdays, at least for the past several weeks, past couple months of that season. It happens there. It will definitely happen here in a bigger field. Could be a sign of disaster if one wrong move is made.
Well, it's 7.5 laps to go until we're expecting the next round of pit stops. So we are going to take a quick side-by-side break. We will be right back at Talladega. Stick with us.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
Three by three.
Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it at the line? Cody Nagels wins it at Talladega.
Welcome back to Talladega Motor Speedway with PGR Intimidator Superspeedway Series presented by Prime here tonight. And up front, Trevor Osnoth, we were sitting here talking about him over break, and what a job he's done so far tonight. And remember, Trevor, he's not a stranger to victory lane here at PGR. He's already, found it twice. I believe it was twice, either 2 or 3, and he might be looking for that number 3 here tonight.
Yeah, he's got 2 so far that I can remember. He's got a truck win from a while back, and then he won a Gen 6 race when we first started to kind of get that series integrated here in the Thursday nights. He won that race as well. In fact, made it a KSR 1-2 that night with he and Dustin Carruthers. So he is no stranger to victory lane and would love to get to victory lane in a potential preview race for what we're going to see in a few weeks. What about a momentum that would be? And man, no better place to be on the racetrack than clean air in front of you and your teammate on your back bumper. Great situation here for Trevor Osnoth if this thing stays green.
Especially when you're single file. You can have a little bit less white knuckling with the wheel once you get single file. You don't have to quite stress as much about running that perfect line when there's no car to your outside. But before we do get to the pit stops here in about 3 to 4 laps, let's go just briefly through the field here and see what everybody's looking like. Nash Brambilla, Jeff Merck, Tim White have all retired from this race due to incidents they were involved in causing them damage that had to retire. Landon Velicki looks to be in the same boat. So Jimmy Emos is currently the last car running on track. He sits in that 40th position running with the 17. of Flanagan. Grant Gutter back in 39th. He had some issues in the pits. Zach Range, 38th. Jesse Calloway, 37th. Those two are drafting together right now. Tucker McClendon up in 36 by himself. Not really. Catching Osborne along with the 7 of Gutter. And then Francisco Villarreal, Caden Dieterich, Adam Young, who, by the way, making his first start here tonight. Shout out to Adam. Looks like he has not lost any positions from where he started here tonight, so hanging strong, just trying to gain some experience, potentially for the next couple weeks, and see if he's preparing for the Summer Slam, but he sits 30th. And then you've got Jonathan Herbert in the 87 and 29th, Brock Westerland 28th, and the general idea is that this pack here, it's a pretty big one. You saw a lot of different guys in that group, and so as we move even further up, we've got a middle pack, we had that back pack, and then we have the main pack up front, but still waiting to see that first round of pit stops here. And it looks like we see some stops, and one of them is the 89 of Trevor Osranoff, but did he go in by himself here, Dawson?
I think he went with one other car.
He took his teammate. Joe Huerta in the one took his teammate.
It might have been a good choice because, you know, and
there that time as well.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, and that might have been good timing. We had, I don't know if it was the server or what, but another brief internet spike there that cut the cars out just for a brief moment as they entered the pits. Back now, though, and you can see all the three-wide action as everybody's scrambling to get sorted out here, because this time would be either this should be the second to last round unless everybody goes in, of course. But going back to the cars on the pits, Mullahan, Von Dell, Devin Ray, Jared Haynes, and Chris Walker, and so they'll all make their way out. And Von Dell, Mullahan teammates, of course, so that's why those two went in together.
We've seen a lot of single file right here. I think you're going to see a lot more coming down pit road this time. Andrew Navarro going to be coming this time, probably Everhart.
Baker had the pit strategy. Let's see. Yep, sure enough, good call. Here comes most, I'd say about half of what was remaining. As hard on the brakes they all are, and they're arriving on the scene. The 34 dropped low. Man, that was close for Daniel Everhart. Dylan Jones will make it into his box with no issues, as everybody else is going to try to get in and out as quick as possible. And the cars that are still out, I believe, are going to have to go in this next time around, but within 20 to go, once everybody cycles out, it will be go time.
I'll tell you what is very interesting for this group based on what we saw in the first cycle of pit stops and how long that they just went on this one. This group, it is slightly possible, might have enough to make the end of the race. It's going to be very razor-thin close. They are coming to 19 laps to go. We figured about 19 laps on a tank of fuel, and we saw it on that first round of green flag pit stops. This group may very well have made the race-winning call with this pit stop.
Here we go. Here comes the rest of them. Big lockup out of Nagels on the outside of the 6. Oh, man, he is sliding in. A couple of them are really on the brakes hard, but it looks like they're all going to get in clean here. And so this should conclude all the round of pit stops. And so J.R. Miller, Michael Triscaro, there's two teammates, Nagels and Stephen Miles, two more along with Matt Lee. And with this being the final pit stops, now it'll become the game of how do they all merge out.
Again, trouble. Kyler went Andrew Navarro around in turns 3 and 4. They were just door banging each other, and they got sideways, and the caution flag is out.
Caution is out for the first time here tonight, and oh boy, that is going to change some things around in a big way. Navarro looks like he is able to get back rolling. We're looking for Kyler Wynn here to see if he sustained much, if any, damage here. And it looks like the 82, it doesn't, well, from the angle we can see, doesn't appear to be too banged up. Cockpit view, and he may have some suspension issues, I can't quite tell, but I didn't see a lot of damage initially on that car. Dawson, you caught it as it happened. Yeah, the car looks clean, but you said these two got together. Kyler's still a lap down, by the way, so definitely makes you wonder what in the world happened here. Besides, could it have been a push gone wrong? I don't think that's the case, yeah. You see, Kyler wins on the door here, these two, for quite some time. So they come out of the pits, and as soon as they do, Everhart immediately is going to pull to the top of the racetrack here. Navarro goes with him. They both want to get around Kyler, and Kyler doesn't seem to like that too much. He's really not like that. I mean, he's laying it on the door. That's you can call it side drafting, but he's proven a point there. And then Navarro says, "What are you doing?" as he gives him a little shot. And then I think at that point it was just kind of who could win the pissing match, and I think they both lost. So tough break there, Dawson. But I don't know. Maybe Baker's got more in it. I'm not really sure what Kyler was doing right there.
Yeah, just I mean, Kyler's a lap car. racing with the lead pack up here. Andrew gets down into him just a tad, and then I don't know, Kyler just retaliates for no reason.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. Dawson, what do you got on it?
I mean, to me, I understand Kyler's frustration with them going past him. Obviously, Kyler is in a really good spot in front of those guys to, if it cycles out, be in a spot to either get a lucky dog or get the lap back the hard way. But, when it comes down to it, I'm not sure that benefits him now because I believe, and I'll have to double check this, but I believe he's still going to be caught at least a lap down if you just file in behind and it cycles out and you get a caution, you're back on the lead lap. I'm not sure. Kind of one of those where maybe the emotions take over in the moment, and just not a very smart move for Kyler Wynn right there because he cost himself in the race, and now bunches the field back up, makes his chances getting back on the lead lap very, very difficult.
And he's one of the best out here, and that's one of those ones that, well, knowing that as talented as he is, it's going to leave you scratching your head, but nonetheless, we've cleaned up I don't want to call it chaos because nobody really got too much damage out of it. Both of those drivers are going to be able to return to the racetrack, but we'll see if we see them both throwing hands in the pit lane after. Point being, as we go back live, Cody Nagel's leading the way, and he's got some teammates around him, so that caution worked out really well for everybody that was in the pits at the time of it. As again, Nagels is your leader, Stephen Miles second, Matt Lee third, Ethan Eckert back in fourth. He is up 23 positions from where he started this race at. J.R. Miller back in fourth, and then you've got, looks like, Michael Triscaro rounding out your top 5. And so it'll be, looks like 16 laps to go when we go back green. And with the way things are lining up here, it's going to get really aggressive because we still got a lot of cars running in this field. And now that they've got a caution, they've all got bunched back up. And we still have, looks like, a decent amount fighting for a lap back, though, 27 on the lead lap. We'll see what changes with that. But looking at, based off who's, towards the front of the field here, J.R. Miller doing very good. Let's see if we can bring him up for a quick word here. Hey, J.R. Miller, this is Austin, Dawson, and Baker up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, boys.
Well, good run going so far here tonight. Heard earlier that you were the Little Guy Series champion this season, so here you are back in a position to potentially win a PGR race. How you feeling about your chances here?
I feel good for the team. I don't know so much about myself, but at least I'm up here to battle with these guys and try to get one of us up to get that checker flag.
Well, we know the PGR SummerSlam coming up in about a month or so, and every chance you get to get in this car, you got to be trying to learn something for it. Has there been anything tonight, and maybe over the course of the last couple weeks, that maybe you've noticed or something different that you didn't catch before that you're going to try to apply to the big race here in a month?
Just kind of watching some of the races that I'm not in. I watched Ron's race Tuesday, and I just noticed it looked like the cars got a little bit loose on old tires, so I did take notice of that and was kind of trying to drive a little bit cautiously there at first because I only took left sides right now. So so far I'm getting pretty comfortable with these cars and just hope we can, do something here at the end to cash the money.
It's a good way to try to get the job done. And yeah, that's right. Let's see if you can get yourself in a cash spot, and let's see if we're talking to you at the end of this thing. Good luck the rest of the way.
All right.
All right, J.R. Miller. He said it, Dawson, and we've certainly seen that here tonight. And, it makes me a little upset that we did have that caution because I was really excited to see just how far these guys could go on that tire wear and how out of control these things could get while they could still hold on to them. But not going to get a chance to see that tonight. But from what we did see, with a track temp of, I'd say, moderate to maybe slightly warmer, these things certainly do get a little tricky as you go through the run. Now, I will say Talladega maybe not quite as hard as Daytona to handle them once they start to get a little bit loose and darty, but I mean, now that everybody's got fresh rubber and only be 16 laps to go, I think it becomes a battle of will here and a battle of who can push the most.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be kind of interesting. Some of these guys sit and pit under this caution, so some of them are not on fresh rubber. It's going to be really interesting to see how these leaders handle this restart because this is going to get pretty dicey up front.
All right, here we go. Field in the hands of Nightmare eSports. Cody Nagels, Stephen Miles into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. 16 laps to go at Talladega. Grant
pretty good restart both ways. Yeah, pretty good restart both ways here as Nagels, Miles both got a good start. Outside's more connected, though. Look at the help. And Ethan Eckert. How about the 12 machine? I could got him confused for Jason Haynes earlier, but it's Ethan Eckert, and he's on the up and up here late in this going. He's in a very good position, pushing Steven Miles. He's got Michael Triscaro out back. The 12, look at him. He surges Miles all the way to the point. Ethan Eckert may lead this race by the time they get to 3.
Miles clears low, and I didn't mean to cut you off, Dawson, but I saw Grant Gutter with his struggle on the restart there. He faded all the way to the back, and they were 3-4 wide with the apron for just a moment. They got it all settled out, so things stay nice and tidy. Still 2x2 off of turn 4, and honestly, I don't know if we'll see that third lane for a couple laps here because you got to get both the inside and the middle warmed up a little bit. But Malik Ray doesn't look like he wants much of a warm-up as he's already taken a peek to the outside a couple different times.
Well, temps are one thing. You can wait. It certainly makes your chances better. But if you have the right group of cars and you time the run right, you can really go at any point if you want to start to wind that run up. You just can't get yourself too high if you're the pusher in that outside lane, the far outside lane. If you want to go, you can go. If you have the right momentum and the right pushers in line and you can coordinate the move, you can absolutely make it work. It's just more beneficial to you if that middle and bottom are heated up, which they have not had a chance to do so yet. As Ethan Eckert, oh man, he's all over the racetrack in 3 and 4, but makes the save on the bumper of Steven Miles. That's going to allow the prime Chevrolet Michael Triscaro to reach the point for the first time tonight. Still no third line. It's Triscaro and Eckert side by side in the triangle.
Boy, if Michael Triscaro could find a way to win in prime time here tonight, yeah, you see what I did there. You like that? Hey, the 34 is out in front. And if he could win in the prime colors, I know he'd be pretty pumped up about it. Right now, though, he has got a lot to try to hold on to because Joshua McCullough and John Mullahan, 2 teammates, separated by only 1 car. If those 2 decide to go 3 wide, they leave the 34 all by himself. But Steven Miles jumps up top. He will let the 12 cool down a little bit. Actually, I guess I should say, not so much let him cool down as he'll try to take the lead back into turn 3. Oh, he's in an awkward spot. He almost got split. Triscaro had to check up, and now that's going to cause a bit of a checkup on the outside.
Might have been a bit of a miscue there between the teammates Miles and Nagels. I wonder if Cody was saying, okay, hey, you're going to have it, and Miles did not have it. He'll get it this time here in the trial. So maybe just a bit of a miscue there, just a bit of a jump-the-gun situation. Outside line starting to work. Devin Ray, I believe, is the first car up in that outside line. He's got a couple big-time pushers with him. How about Manazzi Major jumping out in front of the third line? He'll jump out in front of Devin Ray, but now, right as the 82 did that, the help dissolves on the outside against the safer barrier.
Yeah, I was going to say, sometimes we always talk about how the more help that third lane gets, the better, but sometimes there'll be a car that jumps up there that everybody says, I don't think so, but look at this. Malik Ray looked for the move, didn't work. Now he's going to be 4 wide into turn 3. This is where you got to hold the wheel extra steady because there is not a lot, if any, wiggle room to work with. And Malik is trying everything in his power here to see if he can gain some. And, well, looks like that's going to answer that as Manazzi Major fades. Nagels gets into Joshua McCullough. They almost wrecked, but they all save it at the front.
Oh, how did Cody Nagels save that car? Sorry to cut you off. He was absolutely sideways.
Boy, what a save that was. I don't know. We're going to back that up there. I don't know what happened here. Coming off the turn, watch Cody. Maybe Cody coming up a little bit, Josh coming down. Couldn't tell great from that angle, but that's kind of what it looked like from that view. But yeah, you said it, Baker. What a save from Cody Nagels.
It's getting crazy up front now. The moves are getting bigger. It's getting more dicey. There's less margin for error. Malik Ray, Trevor Osbornoff, Daniel Eberhard, Kenny Stamper, Manazzi Major, several cars have decided that now is the time to go forward. I just don't know if they're going to have the temps. I think they waited a little bit too long. They stood up there a little bit too late to try to get this run going at this point. They're going to need another car to jump out. I really don't see anybody doing so right now. Here comes the run again. Malik Ray will be row 2 by the time they hit the start-finish line. He'll be elbow to elbow with the leaders in 1A. Huge push on the outside. It's 3x3, 5 rows deep.
Trevor Osbornoff second in that third lane. Daniel Eberhard, Kenneth Stamper, and the 82 Manazzi Major still up there as well. Dylan Jones, no surprise to see him up front late when it matters. But I'll tell you what, Osbornoff being back up to second in that third lane, something about this just, it feels like it's his night. Everything so far has been going his way, but man, up front, you can see a couple more runs coming all the way at the back of this group. They're getting ready to be 3x3 for about 10 to 15 rows deep. And, I mean, if we have even a bobble up front, this is going to cause the huge one at Talladega.
Like I said, the moves are getting a little bit more desperate, and there's less margin for error because there's less give, more take. The further you go in the race, less give and more take, and that's what you're seeing right now at the front of the field. Those windows are getting smaller to make those moves because guys are not letting up as much. They're not cutting you as much slack. There's not as much of a, okay, well, you can have it for now because there's only 10 laps to go. And if you have track position, if you have that favorable spot, you want to keep it. If you're guys like Michael Triscaro, Malik Ray, Ethan Eckert, even guys second, third, fourth in line, they want to keep that position because they're in a really good spot. And man, look at the storylines here up on the front row. Malik Ray, the Coke Series driver. Triscaro in the prime colors would love to get to victory lane and get a PGR win, an elusive PGR win. Ethan Eckert could burst on the scene tonight. A lot of great storylines at the front.
You saw Trevor duck out there in the turn 3. That tells me he's starting to get hot, and that's where this got. Oh, Malik Ray watches up there, though, to let Trevor cool. There you go. So that's kind of that. I don't know if they're speaking directly or not, whether it's unspoken communication, but the point is, that's what you got to do right there. The outside is really the only lane that has the opportunity to do that. As long as they're 3 wide and not 4 wide, whether it's Malik Ray or Trevor Osenoff, if one of those jumps high, the other one stays low, they're going to be able to keep those 2 cars cool enough to be able to push down the straightaways. But if they stay as tight as they are right now, that's when you start to get hot. Issues start to be created. Stamper, he ducked out for a little bit of air. Oh, Joshua McCullough, here we go. The big one down the backstretch at Talladega. Caution is out. Multiple cars involved.
Still wrecking.
We got debris flying everywhere as they are still wrecking. Jones was in it, along with multiple others as well. You knew it was just a matter of time, and once one went, it seemed like they all started going.
John Mullahan involved as well. Huge damage on the 2.
And it looks like he has already taken it right back to the pit, so that'll bring his night to an end. This might retire a couple of them. Let's back see what sparks it up here. Dylan Jones was the car that we saw losing a bunch of pieces and spinning around, but before this all starts, they had been 3x3 for quite a while, and it almost seems like eventually something has to give, and it certainly did here. Watch as they go down the back. Steven Miles, little offset on the back bumper, but doesn't seem like any harm, any foul there. Well, I'll tell you what, that's just unfortunate timing. That's 2 guys at the wrong place at the exact wrong time. Joshua McCullough is going to slide a little bit offset left here of Mike. At the same time, Steven Miles is going to slide a little bit offset right here of the 12 of Eckert, and with them both being offset, one a little bit to the left, one to the right, they make contact, and as Josh shaves it, he gets back up the track, gets into Trevor Osenoff. Osenoff gets into that outside safer barrier. They're all going to try to miss him here, and as that happens, see Everhart and Mullahan get into it, and the wreck's on from there. Saw Jones get clobbered at the end by Jeremy Osborne, who had nowhere to go. Jonathan Herbert, I think, sneaked through relatively unscathed. I wouldn't say he completely got away with it, but certainly looked like it could have been a lot worse than it initially was. Matt Lee, and then you said, Dawson, that John Mullahan, of course, the damage he got. And the question being, I would say, how did he get it here as Michael Triscaro pops onto the driver cam? Let's see here when he spins here. Do they take this all the way down to that inside safer barrier? It looks like they do. Matt Lee's trying to sneak by. He's not going to be able to. He gets kind of pinched into the wall there as Trevor Osenoff looking to see how much damage he took from this. See the 89 spinning out all by himself. Looked like the 17. That might have been was that Francisco Villarreal? Couldn't tell if that was. No, that wasn't Francisco. The 17 could have potentially been Adam Young. Point is, whoever it was took some pretty good damage. And so as everybody was able to get back rolling, we certainly were able to determine who had the worst of it. It was not Adam Young, by the way. So let's look at this from the turn 3 entry. I mean, Dawson, that one, I really can't put it on anybody. That's just hard racing. Like I said, 2 guys, one going left, one going right. Same piece of real estate. Bad place, bad timing.
Yeah, I watched it back a little bit further, and it's just everything happens at once. So the field comes off turn 2. Everybody's fine. As Josh gets a little bit offset with Mike, Steven Miles is trying to reset to get on the bumper of Ethan Eckert as they come off the corner. He's just trying to get reset and come back up. He's trying to center up on his bumper. He actually, on corner exit, goes a little bit too low, and as he goes to correct, unfortunately gets a little bit too high. Josh McCullough coming down the racetrack, Miles coming up. They come together. Tire wear may also play a little bit into it. Not a lot of grip for either of those cars, and then, man, it is on from there because they get about 6, 7, 8 wide right here, and then that's not enough room for these cars to be able to work, and it's just one guy hits the other guy, then they hit the third guy, and it is on from there. Chain reaction. Dylan Jones gets the worst of this, John Mullihan as well, and right as you talked about Trevin Oswernoth, he gets a big part of that as well.
Well, as we go back up front, looks like it's going to be about 5 laps to go for the restart here, and we do have Michael Triscaro leading the way in the Prime Camaro. Second is Malik Ray. Ethan Eckert back in third with Joshua McCullough fourth, and Cody Nagels currently rounding out your top 5. And we're going to take just a brief moment here as we go to our race break presented by Prime Hydration. Again, another reminder, you'll be hearing us saying it a lot whenever we get a chance to. The PGR SummerSlam 499, Saturday, July 27th and Sunday, July 28th, going to have the heat races. Me, Dawson, Baker, and Michael Triscaro will all be rotating commentating shifts between the heats. I think it was 5 in total. Point being, however many, we'll be splitting that up, doing pairs, so make sure you stay tuned for what that's going to be looking like. Then, of course, we'll have a crew for the actual main event as well. Championship belt will be given out along with rings to at least the winner, and then potentially the top 3 as well. And so as we take a moment for our prime race break, I want to see some picks that we got here tonight. Some of the spotlights, if you will. Dawson, I may be taking your pick, but I got to go with Ethan Eckert here. I mean, he's up 25 positions from where he started tonight. Sits in third. He's in a great position here to score a win early on in his PGR career.
It's a good pick. I don't mind that pick. I was thinking about it, but I'm going to go a little bit further back. I'm going to go to the Nightmare Esports driver, Stephen Miles. This is a guy that, like you said, is very familiar with this position. Being up front late in a super speedway race, has had experience in this car before, so I think he's got what it takes to get the job done. If he can have the luck go his way on this final restart, he absolutely has the skill and the racecraft to be up front when it matters and go steal away a PGR win.
Well, Baker, who you got in this one?
Yeah, I got the co-owner, PGR Esports tonight, Michael Triscaro. I think you're going to see Malik Ray push him to the win here. I think Mike's going to get cleared up to that middle line, try and manage it, go back to the bottom at least one more time, get back up in front of Malik and get pushed home by him.
That's a bold assumption. I mean, Malik Ray, one of the Coke Series drivers, I know he knows how to push, but, I mean, that's a tough bill to pay to just push a guy 7 laps straight if he wants to try to make a move to win this thing at least. So, hey, we'll have to see what happens here. We're getting ready to find out. Pace car going to make the left turn, and it will be a handful of laps to go, 5 exact, here at Talladega. What a night it's been so far. If you're just tuning in, we appreciate you being here. If you've been tuning in, we appreciate you sticking around. We are getting ready to see who is going to be crowned PGR winner. Green flag is back in the air. 5 laps to go at Talladega, and it's a great restart for the 34 of Michael Triscaro, trying to get pushed clear by the 12 of Ethan Eckert. Malik Ray is trying to hold them at bay for now. Going to be close, but it's a drag race into turn 1.
That could not have gone any better for Triscaro. He got a good start, and his help, 2, 3 cars deep, got a good start as well. Eckert got a great run on the start behind him, and so did Cody Nagels. Now the outside starts to come too, though. Mike had a chance to get up. He did not. He stays down on the bottom in front of Eckert. Here comes Malik Ray, Josh McCullough, Stephen Miles, and others.
And I don't know if Baker was getting ready to cut in with some news right there, but we saw a big wiggle out of Michael Triscaro right there, and that big wiggle gave Malik Ray in the outside lane enough to get that 7 clear. So Michael's going to fall back to second here, but Malik's going to... Oh, huge hit out back. Huge hit. We had one upside down, another one in the inside wall. That's Jesse Calloway. As we had one upside down, I think it's Caden Dieterich. He is destroyed. Every corner of that car is just crumpled as he's going to immediately take it back to the pits. Ken McCullough Jr. might have been in this one as well. Jonathan Herbert's limping it back to the pits. And so it looks like we're going to head into overtime. I cannot believe the damage on Dieterich's car. I mean, I looked over and look how high this thing is in the air. This is just as we flipped into frame. That's Jonathan Herbert back there. Let's see what happens here. We'll go to TV3. Watch Herbert in the 87 on the outside. That's Dieterich in the 24 there in the middle. And it looks like Dieterich is still in his line. There's a bit of a checkup. There is a bit of a checkup, and, you know, I would say maybe the 24 was moving around just a little bit, but overall, I mean, you can see from that view, and if we go to the chopper view there, that it just looks like Jonathan Herbert, I don't know if he was trying to get clear behind and misjudged it or what the deal was here, but he's going to come down and Yeah, he wasn't coming down as much as I initially thought, the 87 that is, but I mean, you see his right side tires here, they're on the white line, and then when they end here, they are no longer on the white line as he gets down into 24, and then once they make contact, this hit into the wall is just absolutely ridiculous. That car flies up into the air, gets into the catch fence, does I don't know how many barrel rolls before landing back on all four. Trevor Osbernoth is able to miss that one, but that was a big wreck, and certainly not a way Caden Dieterich wanted his first race to end. And then a couple others that were involved here. Let's see if we can figure out exactly who all it was. As saw Ken McCullough Jr., well, he'd already had damage, I guess, before this. And so Zach Range goes for a slide. There was Jesse Calloway who took the shot off the inside wall. But after that, I think everybody else actually made it through. And so this will only collect potentially 3 to 5 of them.
Yeah, kind of lucky that didn't collect more cars, and that is a monster hit for Caden Dieterich. You're just along for the ride. You're almost taking your hands off the wheel like they would in the real car there when you get upside down. Brutal hit for Dieterich, and a tough break for all the cars involved right there, right at the end of this race.
And speaking of that, I feel like just for a little side note for anybody that's curious, not going to name anybody because I don't know if they want to know, but I did hear from one of the leagues that I do, somebody in there that actually did break their thumb with the direct drive wheel from a couple weeks back, or it might have been a month or so back, and they have not used it since. But if you don't think that some of the wheels these guys have are strong enough, and that's why I bring it up, is because what Dawson said there, some of these wrecks, I mean, you see the contact that happens, and you can only imagine what happens to the steering wheel and stuff in the cockpit. That one maybe not too bad once he gets in the air, but that hit was wicked, as this is the onboard view here. You see once he hits that wall, just upside down into the catch fence, and then looks like barrel rolls maybe, I don't know, 5-6 times there before eventually sliding to a halt here down on the apron. And so a wild ride for Caden Dieterich puts us under caution for the third time here tonight and sends us to what will be our first overtime attempt. Malik Ray leads the way. Michael Triscaro on the outside, and you guys said he was in perfect position last time. He may be even better positioned now, being on that outside. But I'll tell you what, I don't think Malik's going to just hand this thing over. He's going to stay aggressive. However, if Triscaro can get clear in front of the 7, that might be his ticket all the way to victory lane. If Malik is boxed in and all he can do is push, it's a good guy to have pushing you. Those two make up row 1, but then you've got Joshua McCullough and Stephen Miles row 2. And it looks like row 3 is going to be the 12 of Eckert and the 6 of Cody Nagels.
Yeah, very curious here to see, number 1, which route Malik goes here. Does he go top? Does he go bottom? Appears to be going bottom. So it'll put Michael Triscaro up top. And now I love the position he's in, but when you look in the rearview mirror, you see 2 teammates. Now, the question will be, is Triscaro able to get clear before those 2 have a chance to split around him, or does it come down to the fact that Miles and Nagels may jump out? They don't feel much loyalty to Michael Triscaro here on this restart. They want to win as well. It's going to depend on how you get off turn 2. If Triscaro's able to get down to Malik Ray, he's in a really great position. If not, he might be in one of the worst positions on the racetrack with 2 teammates out the back bumper.
And I do want to get one more look at this because we do have somebody, looks like in the chat here, that doesn't believe that our analysis was too great, says that no chance the 87 came down. 24 completely washed up on the checkup. And I like to be, favor what you guys have to say, but I got to be honest, I completely disagree. I mean, yes, the 24 washed up slightly from the checkup, but you can use the reference all you want to see where his tires were on the right side. And the 87, look at his tires right here. He is above the white line. The right sides are above the white line, and then watch when the contact's made where his right side tires are. They are about a quarter of a lane below. And now, again, didn't say it was anything malicious on Jonathan Herbert. Again, I agree. The 24 slightly came up, and I think it was just a racing deal. But to say that the 24 completely washed up on that one, just can't agree on that. Nonetheless, 2 laps to go. And so up front, can Michael Triscaro grab his first win as a series owner right here?
Well, you also got to look at the guy behind him. Stephen Miles doesn't yet have a PGR win either. Then you have some PGR royalty, if you will. Cody Nagels, a multi-time winner. Malik Ray has won in PGR before, so you've got guys up here that have experienced victory lane, but you got two guys on that top lane that want nothing more than to end this night in PGR Esports victory lane. In fact, none probably more than the man on the front row, Michael Triscaro, in the prime colors. Can he get the job done? He's got 2 laps to potentially go to victory lane. Into the restart zone, 2 laps to go at overtime attempt number 1. Green flag is in the air, and off they go towards turn number 1.
Don't forget, we'll have to make it all the way back to the white flag for this race to be official. But through the gears they go. Malik Ray off with a little bit of a lead over Michael Triscaro down into turn 1, but now the 34 is fighting back. He was able to get linked up with Steven Miles a lot sooner. Nagel's there as well, and I'll tell you what, I don't think the 24 or the 6 will move an inch. Michael Triscaro might even sit on this outside here for the rest of the way. We'll find out, but down the back stretch they go. Michael Triscaro with a big run as he's going to try to get clear Malik Ray before turn 3. Can he do it? Yes, he can. Michael Triscaro gets clear, and he's going to drop down. He leads him into turn number 3.
Yeah, but Ethan Eckert moved up about halfway down the backstretch and really slowed down that bottom lane to the point that now it'll be the Nightmare teammates that will have most control of this race. It's now pusher versus pusher. Nagels versus Malik Ray. Who's got the better push? A few cars jump out of line. J.R. Miller in the 78, Andrew Navarro in the 44 as they hit the white flag at the line. Almost some contact between the 2 leaders.
White flag, this race is official. Here we go. The 12 of Eckert took a look to the outside. He's going to duck back down low. Oh, Triscaro's going to get turned. Michael Triscaro gets turned in the corner. They're wrecking big time out back. And as we go back to the front of the field, we'll keep all eyes on the front. 3 wide, Malik Ray gets split. He is headed towards the back. Kenneth Stamper gets clears down. Nagels is going to try to jump in line behind the 30. And they are all still trying to find a way to sort this thing out. Checkers or wreckers. Here we go through 3 and 4. And Nagels is going to look high.
Watch out back, watch out back. We got some more coming. Joe Ware to Mike Davenport. They're going to be in this as well. Contact between Nagels and Stamper. They wreck out back. Nagels, Malik Ray to the outside. He's got Davenport. Does Davenport have anywhere to go in this? Through the trial for the final time. Mike Davenport, does he have anything for the race leader? No, he does not. Malik Ray wins PGR tonight in the Prime Hydration 60.
Well, he wins it as it's heartbreak for Michael Triscaro. You saw the driver cam reaction there. He cannot believe it, and I'll tell you what, neither can I. Looked like he was in the best position. And I'll tell you what, Dawson, I feel like we don't see guys get turned from the inside that much anymore. It seems like they've just gotten used to where they can handle it pretty well, and not sure what happened there. I think it was just hard racing, maybe a bit of a push gone wrong, but man, you got to feel for Michael Triscaro after that one.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and look at it here all the way down into turn 1, but it just felt really weird that they even wrecked. I'm not sure. I'm going to watch it back again. I mean, everybody's pushing as hard as they can. That's just kind of the policy on the last lap of these races. You don't expect the guy behind you to lift, even if you do have an issue. I'm watching it back for the first time. I'm wondering if there was some contact that kind of got guys out of shape from the top side, but does not appear to be the case.
It's just pushing hard.
It's a push gone wrong. Yep.
Yeah, and there's just not much you can do. Like you said, it's one of those things where I'm sure Mike would, say, do what you can to keep me out in front, and I think that's what Malik's trying to do. And really, he's not offset much. But again, it's just the fact that these cars in the corner, maybe if we're in the trucks, you get away with it, but that slight bit of offset right there in the corner and just a little too much turns Michael Triscaro around. And once it does, I mean, this gets big in a big way right here as he comes up and everybody trying to drive through a lot of big hits there. But all the way to the checkered here, this thing was a race, and I didn't think Malik was necessarily in the best position to pull this out, but I'll tell you what, he found a way here. Watch this. Down the backstretch into 3, he tucks in behind Cody Nagels. Now, did look like Nagels had some damage. You got to wonder if that played a role in it, but Malik pushes Cody up top here. They're both going to get by the 30 of Kenneth Stamper. Stamper's trying to side draft. They start wrecking out back, Herta and Lee. And so as they tangle, Davenport's got to run. He's got a choice to make. Malik, Cody block up the top. He's got no choice but to push. He pushes Malik. That's all Malik needed as he drives through and will take yet another win in the PGR Intimidator Superspeedway Series.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Cody kind of won that race from Malik. I think he went too early into 3, and you figure a guy like Cody that has multiple PGR wins, rattled off 3 or 4 in a row a few months back, you figure he would have realized he had Malik with him. He could have waited to the last probably 1,000 feet of the race and won. Instead, jumps the gun a little bit and allows Malik to get in the perfect position to take advantage and win the race.
All right, looking at your finishing results here tonight before we go talk to your top three. Malik Ray is your winner. Mike Davenport, great run at the checker there. He brings home second with Kenneth Stamper, the captain for KSR, rounding out your top three. Cody Nagel's back in fourth. Mark Morton in fifth. Looks like Manatzi Major brings home a sixth-place finish. Joshua McCullough in seventh. Ethan Eckert back in eighth with Logan York ninth. And Daniel Eberhardt rounding out your top 10.
Francisco Villarreal finishes 11th tonight with Matt Lee in 12th. Dylan Jones 13th. Joe Huerta in 14th. Stephen Miles, man, tough break for him in 15th. Trevor Osmernoth finishes 16th tonight. Jared Haynes in 17th. Brock Westmerlin 18th. Mark Mondell 19th. And J.R. Miller finishes in 20th.
Michael Triscaro, after the heartbreaking wreck on the last lap when it looked like he was in position, finishes 21st. Brian Hennings in 22nd. Andrew Navarro 23rd, Tyler Vickery 24th, Devin Ray 25th, Chris Walker in 26th, Adam Young 27th with Zach Range back in 28th, Tucker McClendon 29th, and Grant Gutter rounds out your top 30.
Tyler Wynn finishes 31st. Jimmy Emos 32nd. Jonathan Herbert 33rd with Caden Diedrich in 34th. Jesse Calloway finishes tonight in 35th. Kenny McCullough in 36th. David Flanagan in 37th. John Mullahan 38th. And Landon Velicki 39th. And Jeremy Osborne in 40th. Last four cars in the field tonight. John Darnell in 41st. Nash Brambilla in 42nd. Tim White in 43rd. And Jeff Merck in 44th.
All right, we're going to go get your top three in here for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Talladega. All right, back live at Talladega Superspeedway. We're going to start first tonight with your third place finisher, the captain for KSR, Kenneth Stamper. Kenneth, this is all up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you bring home a third place finish, man. Looked like you had a shot at potentially taking the win here tonight. What was going through your eyes there, coming through 3 and 4? Looked like you had a chance. You tried to get the side draft. Was there anything you could have done different?
I did everything I could do right there. Good Lord. I don't even remember exactly what happened, to be honest. But I knew once I cleared it, like the wreck and everything, I kind of got in front of Cody and Malik and all them. I knew I was a sitting duck. I honestly thought I was going to get passed by a lot more than a paint spot. But as soon as I seen Cody and Malik coming, I was just hanging on, trying to put my door on them best I could without, wrecking people. But, man, that was a wild finish.
Yeah, it certainly was. And, you'd been kind of on a bad luck streak there for a little while. We saw plenty of great runs, but things just not quite piecing together at the end. And now that you've gotten not only a money position spot, but also a podium finish, do you feel like maybe this is the turnaround you needed?
Yeah, man, I'm really hoping so. I do put a lot of effort into this. I'm nowhere near the caliber of Malik and Cody and some of these guys. Even my teammates, Trev and these guys, they're way better than me. But I try to keep up with them, and I hope I can carry this on to a better finish here soon.
A great run tonight. Could be the spark you needed. Before we let you head out to celebrate, though, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Oh, absolutely. Right off the rip, you guys for putting these races on for the broadcast. I always say it always makes it so much more fun when you can go back and just rewatch it. It's awesome. I appreciate you all for the hard work because I know the work that goes into it. My team, I never can say enough about KSR and the Jack Shack. My God, I can't name them all because we're a lot of us, but you all know, and I love them to death, and I couldn't do it without nobody.
Absolutely, and thank you for talking to us. Well, again, Kenneth, congrats on the third place finish, and hopefully we'll see you out here again next week.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you all.
All right, and now that'll bring us to tonight's second place finisher, Mike Davenport. He stands by with Dawson Wise.
Yeah, hey, Mike, it's the boys in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, I tell you what, I went back and looked again. You're about 15th when we took the white flag, 7 cars deep on the inside. At the end of it, you come off turn 4, you're position 4, and they're spreading out. What'd you see on that last 2 laps?
A lot of smoke and a lot of sideways cars. I was kind of hanging back for a while, waiting, thinking that there was going to be a wreck. And then kind of thought we were waiting too long to try and get up and make a move, and then we were trying to maybe get a run to see if we can just, maybe get inside the top 10, and then had a couple of blocks and lost some momentum and just kind of felt like we were just kind of stuck back there. But in the end, with the wreck in the front, feel bad for Chiscaro, whatever happened up there. But really, it was just wreck avoidance there. Just happened to be in the right place at the right time and made it through. And then after made it back out of there, I just never lifted coming around on the rest of that last half a lap there. And appreciate Joel Herta pushing me there, not turning me after we finally got clear of all that mayhem. And then, Eberhardt, he saw us coming. He wanted to put a block up there, and I gave him about as much room as I could and went around the top there. Appreciate him not putting me in the fence either. That was cool. And I thought for a second I might have got enough run to win that thing. Just had a good luck, a lot of luck on my side.
Well, sometimes better to be lucky than good, as the saying goes tonight.
Yeah.
Very much, lucky and good in both ways here tonight. You leave with a pretty big payday, and now, we're a couple weeks short, or a few weeks short, I should say, of the SummerSlam 499 and a potential preview tonight of that race. Did you learn anything you could take forward into that race tonight?
I think I learned a little bit more about the Xfinity car tonight. Some things that I'm trying to do a little bit different, even since, Tuesday. Always making adjustments, had kind of a rough wreck on Tuesday. So, always back to the drawing board and trying to figure out what I can do to fix mistakes and get a little bit better every time. So, I think, for one, don't speed on pit road. I was just a little bit too fast coming off of pit road. I can't believe I didn't get it coming on to pit road there. So that kind of buried me back after I was making some headway up into the top, 15. But just, keeping it clean. And then always be ready for some mayhem, dodge a wreck, and whatever you got to do.
Well, absolutely. We look forward to seeing you continue to learn stuff about this car as we get closer to that race weekend, I should say. But a big night for you tonight, a big payday, like I mentioned, and a second place finish for you tonight here in PGR. So before we let you go and celebrate, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
I just want to thank my teammates, all the guys, PGR. Always got a lot of good info for each other, and Nash was out of it at the end, and he came up and spotted for us, and that did help, with the last lap for sure. I want to thank you guys in the broadcast booth. Always looking forward to watching that. Just appreciate everybody in the field here. Nice, good fun race.
Certainly a fun race to watch and a big night for you. A second place finish tonight. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We will talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. And now that will bring us to tonight's winner here at Talladega as we move. Well, we had Malik for a minute. Not sure. Oh, okay. We see him now. So we'll go ahead and drag him up. Hey, Malik, this is Austin and Dawson in the booth. Got a copy.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Good. We bring home the win here tonight. And boy, what a chaotic sequence of last lap events there. First, you have a car spinning in front of you. I mean, did you even think you were going to miss that? Next thing you know, you're setting up for a move. Next thing you know, you're in the lead. I mean, break us down everything that happened over the course of that last lap.
Okay, so on the white flag, I was obviously pushing Mike, and I was pushing him just fine. But for some reason in these cars, I don't know why, but it starts to get to after a point, after you've been pushing so long, it'll just randomly have you phase through the car's bumper that's in front of you. And that's what happened in this scenario. And that's why he got turned. It's not Mike's fault. It's not my fault. It's just, that's just how the game is for some reason. And it just caused that whole, the whole thing on the last lap. And then after that, everybody got through. I saw Cody and I saw Kenneth, and Cody was going faster than me up top, so I just checked up for him. And then I told him that I would push him, and I did. And then, once I got him to the lead, it was every man for himself at that point. And, and thanks to Mike, I was able to get a huge push from him out of turn 4, and that was able to get me to the, the start-finish line first.
You know, you did a great job the second half of the lap. And then, yeah, of course, the first part, just hard racing. We know about it. It's the last lap. You got to push as hard as you can. And I know exactly what you're talking about. We were kind of wondering if maybe something of that nature could have happened up here in the booth. So, you know, looking not necessarily just at that, but, I mean, in general, we've already seen you with multiple wins over here at PGR. You found ways to win when you've been up front all night. You find ways to win late at the end when you got to get to the front. How is it? What's the mindset as a driver that you're able to always find your way to the front, whether it's in 5 laps or just lead the whole race?
I just try to pay attention as to who's in what lane. And I have like everyone for the most part, they have like a reputation. So I pay attention to like who's a good pusher and who can hold a line and stuff like that. And I just base my decision making off that. And, you know, like hopefully, you know, it usually works out. Every now and then it doesn't. But, you know, like tonight it was able to, you know, it just worked out.
Yeah, it certainly worked out. I was going to say, yeah, it certainly worked out pretty well. Well, you know, we got one more question for you here tonight before we let you go. I mean, everybody's got their eye on it, circled on the calendar, the SummerSlam 499 coming up. And if you are racing in that one, what have you been kind of doing to prepare for that? Is that going to be a different mindset that you'll have to take into that one?
No, I mean, it's going to be the same mindset. I'm just going to pay attention to who can hold a line and who can push the best and who can lead the best. And I'm just trying to just keep myself around them.
Sounds like a pretty good plan. Well, hey, before we let you head out here tonight to celebrate yet another win, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
I know shout out to Josh because he was helping me up top. And shout out to Mike on the white flag. And also I'm apologizing to Mike because, you know, that obviously like affected his race and I didn't mean for that to happen to him. But I appreciate you guys broadcasting though. Thank you.
We appreciate you talking to us as well. Again, congrats on the win and we will see you next time.
All right. Thank you, man.
All right, so that's just about going to wrap things up. But there you go, Dawson. He said it, and well, we've seen it before. But I think nonetheless, at the end of the day, it's the last lap. Everything looks square. I didn't see any foul play by any reason. So I think, you know, obviously Michael is going to be upset for now, and he has the right to be. But I think he'll realize at the end of the day that Malik was, you know, trying to help him out there. I genuinely believe he was, and wasn't in the cards tonight, unfortunately, for Michael Triscaro, but I think that win's coming soon. And I think once he gets one, it's going to be like the floodgates have broken open. He's going to get a lot more from there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, for Malik, obviously another big win for him. He's getting used to this winning in PGR thing at this point. And certainly will be one of the favorites headed into the SummerSlam 499. So a huge win for him tonight. But for Mike, look, it felt like the mindset for him changed a few weeks back. You could visibly tell that things were different for him on the racetrack. There's been several guys in the field that you've kind of seen their mindsets just kind of like a switch flipping. Their aggression's been turned up. They know now that they can run up front with these guys. They can make those moves to get up front and have that kind of killer instinct that it takes to get to victory lane. So that win is coming soon for several guys in the field here tonight, but most notably Michael Triscaro. A tough break for him at the end, but overall a really good race. We're putting on some really good racing headed towards the SummerSlam 499.
Phenomenal race. And we did have Kenny Real in the chat asking what happened to Ethan Eckert. I'm assuming he meant on the last lap. I didn't see anything of what happened to him, unless it was something in the wreck. So with that, that'll wrap things up here tonight. Matthew Baker already, I believe, has headed out. So that'll do it for me, Austin Green, and Dawson Wise on PGR eSports. Not going to be back next week. In fact, I think we have a couple weeks off. Not sure if, is it, Dawson, the next time we back, is it for the SummerSlam, or do we have one more race before then?
I think it's not 100%
I think it's for the SummerSlam. Well, the point is we'll have some more info for you on that in a couple weeks, but I know that we're not racing next week, I believe, at least from what I saw here tonight. So nonetheless, you can always check the YouTube channel for updates on it, along with the PGR eSports website. Make sure you go check that out. It's a pretty cool website at that. All right, that'll wrap things up. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Until next time, have a good night.